Thank you so much, Colaris. Very excited to get into our next match, some Terran versus Protoss action. I'm Nathanius, joined by Zombie Grub. Getting ready to go into it. TvP, a matchup that's always action-packed and brings the best and sometimes the worst out of people, Zombie Grub.
Speaking of experience?
No, just some speculation. We are started up here on Acropolis. Our first player in the Northwest, in blue, he is Time. He's had quite a hot year.
Yeah, he is. In the bottom right, as the red Protoss for Team Liquid, he is MaNa. He's actually not really had too many strong performances, but then kind of a surprise, like he's here. He only had to play one knockout bracket match to get here. And I'm actually like a little worried for Time, despite having a really great year. And last year's actually Montreal was the tournament which he had that breakout performance. He's looking shakier than we expected.
Yeah, seems mortal. Weird thing to say. Oh my goodness! And if he, okay.
Okay, well,
That's. Oh, that was the SCV had 1 health. That's a little bit of repair, right? That's the only way that happens. Nice touch there for Time to keep that worker alive. That's a really nice feeling at the start of the game from a Terran. But yeah, I totally agree with you. MaNa has like this thing where he kind of pops up, and we mentioned this on the desk a few times. Like last year, he was just like, I'm gonna be good this one tournament, make it to the finals, lose to Sterile, and everyone was like, whoa, dude. And he did it off of like some fun stuff. But that knockout bracket match that he played was against Cuddlebear, who is kind of going on a tear himself, beating some pretty good Zerg players in the form of Risky and Xancer, at least players that we wouldn't necessarily favor him against. Now, I think it's fair to say that Time is going to be on a little bit of a different level than Cuddlebear as far as their expectations for a TvP go. So even though MaNa was able to get a 3-0 there, he's, maybe warmed up for the matchup, but it's going to be a completely different beast coming out of our Chinese Terran.
Yeah, I don't think MaNa can actually, in some ways, perhaps, I guess, like we're actually talking about it backstage, listening to Masa for Scarlet, but like, Masa, I said Masa, right? We have MaNa, Masa. That like a lot of our foreigner Terrans, our non-Korean Terrans are like very aggressive, and then there's sometimes like not the backing of the macro, or sometimes just like really poor decision was made while being aggressive, and they kind of get over eager. So I guess in that way, maybe Time and Cuddlebear can share some similarities, maybe like doom dropping when you wouldn't expect to, but Time's really reined it in and just has like super solid play, so he's not really going off the back of like, well, I hope this Hail Mary play works, like maybe he was like a year and a half ago before his, again, breakout performance here in Montreal. But we have a little SCV there. Okay, there it is. He is using that to build a starport.
All right, proxy starport. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with this, of course. Since he's building Hellions, you can try to rally those out, try to elevator them into the main base, could try to elevator the Marines, although that's a little bit harder to do with the speed that they have. Could also just be a Liberator. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Now, the Reactor Factory tells me that he's going to rally out 2 more Hellions to the starport and just build a medevac out of it, try to drop.
Yeah, I was a little confused at first when I saw 1 Hellion, and I was like, wait a minute, like, okay. But yeah, I'm definitely with you on this one. I think he's going to go for the Hellion drop. It's possible that he tries to like really like, like do the weirdest thing and really try and get a surprise. He's going to show the Hellion here, just 1 again. Not too much to reveal, but MaNa is starting a wall. That doesn't matter as the medevac is on the way, and that's something that certainly he has not been able to scout. Blue State Phoenix will see more Hellions, maybe? Well, they should start going south, so they actually won't even see that.
Yeah, seeing the extra Hellions would be really big. Okay, well, you know what? Time kind of slides down because he is headed towards that starport, so opportunities aplenty here as that medevac does load up. Now, there are some pylons giving vision in the main base of MaNa, so you won't be able to unload unscouted. We'll just have to see the reaction time of MaNa and how well these Hellions can be controlled as they're dropping inside of the main base. The Stalkers are going to try to make their way up from the natural. 2 probes dead so far, up to 4, and the rest of them are running. Tries to warp the Stalker to block, but there's actually nowhere for those probes to go.
Yeah, they were blocked out by the Sim City in the natural. Even more right for worker kills. 7 probes now, 8, 9, 10. Probably going to go down. They're really good splits, so he's just barely grabbing 1 each, and oh, maybe he overstayed his welcome. He definitely did. Medevac goes down, so stops at 9 probes. Liberator follow-up might actually be anticipated. With that Medevac that fast should be a bit of a tell, and it was proxied. Plus, the Lucent Phoenix should have scouted the main base while that was going on. So hopefully Liberator, he's not even going to try. He actually just pulls it back.
Stalkers are on the hunt for the starport, and that Liberator coming home to help lock down the defense. Extra barracks are on the way, engineering base coming in, and Blink is going to finish, but I do believe that is a bunker at the front, so there shouldn't be too much risk here. Could try to go to like the side, but I think with the siege tank coming out, it's a bit of a moot point. So the Hellions do some really good damage. Losing the medevac always hurts, but 9 probe kills, you're feeling pretty good at this stage of the game. The mules should be putting him above in terms of mineral income, and that's always a good spot to be in for a Terran, because that's going to slow down the Protoss third base as well. Since MaNa, he's going into a forge and a robotics bay, and fast third's kind of one of those things that get brought up a lot in this matchup. But I feel like overall this is a pretty nice situation for Time.
Yeah, I'm reserving judgment right now. MaNa going into the robotics bay might be a bit of a surprise. So Time didn't just lose the potential for more damage by losing the medevac and then of course not using the Liberator. It's actually defending, but he also lost the scouting. So I'm not sure he scouted enough with those Hellions to tell him exactly what the fault was going to be, right? He just saw the Twilight Council and a Robo. I guess there was missing 2 gateways, usually go down if you're actually going into like Blink Charge. Yeah, so he might have an idea, but we'll see. Like, he's not going to have a Raven here for an easy peasy, defense matrix. That might be the ideal situation, but he will have a decent amount of bio. And I really like MaNa actually pumping out Immortal first. I should have, depending on how much he chronos, maybe he'll have that Extended Thermal Lance, but he's actually chronoing the units, and I think that is the right call.
Third command center is going to come in for Time before he adds additional barracks. Does get the observer there, so good scan usage. And the Stalkers poke the front. Going to take a Marine and walk away. But as far as Time goes, we've seen that little bit of that stim change. One of the reasons why that was added to the game, of course, trying to make the follow-ups to those 1-1-1 openers a little bit more smooth to transition into for the Terran. And Time, he's put together quite the force, so a lot of it is going to come down to the control here out of MaNa to defend against this, but instead he chooses to split up in drops. So I do find that a little bit interesting. He could be looking to just have the drop threaten the main base and then try to push out with everything else towards the third. But MaNa, he's got some good map vision too.
Yeah. Well, I guess that went unscouted, so you can't really see the depth of that army that just showed itself to the Stalkers. So he might have convinced MaNa it is just the main attack. We do have some units, I believe, in MaNa's main base. This pylon barely doesn't see the medevacs. The observer will. Depending on if he actually pays attention to his units in the main, this might be okay. But this attack at the front is not nothing. And a Liberator even comes in finally. Wow. She was made so long ago, and is going to try and pull MaNa apart in 3 different directions.
I like this a lot, though. It's really just playing with the attention of MaNa, that observer over the top. Now, there's 4 Stalkers inside of the main. If he could skirt by, oh my God, that Liberator is going to have to draw the Stalkers over no matter what. 5 probes get picked off. There we go, the double medevac is able to drop without the Stalkers intercepting it. And once these units are unloaded, well, all you need to do is press that T key and you're going to kill everything. 11 probes. He's going to dive on top of the Colossus and gets on to that third base. All these Widow Mines cutting the base in half. GG, a quick win for Time. Hitting in 3 places at once. Zombie grab. If you're a Terran player, that's how you do it.
That is, well, that's exactly what they say you should be doing. And that worked out really well for Time. I also feel like he did have a nice position. I expected, even if he was to do only a main attack, it would have been kind of a nasty one for MaNa to hold. But there was definitely some mistakes also made from MaNa, who was working with a very low unit count. It's a weakness of the Colossus, weakness of the opener, the way that it went. It's difficult, but he wasn't paying attention to the main units. They did not blink until it was already too late and it was fully unloaded. Maybe that could have been different. Then he would have had his Stalkers still at the third, but then even the Liberator drew all them back. He just had so few units to work with.
And that's a really tough position to play in. You mentioned it, he had observers. He had the vision that he needed eventually to spot all of it, but if those medevacs are able to get in and unload, like 2 medevacs, the 4 Stalkers, maybe you can kill one of them before they fully unload, and then you don't need as much to deal with those Marines that are there, but having to also split Stalkers to the Liberator and the Natural, and then not being able to watch the front, like that's just, and let's not forget, the Hellions, 9 probes for the Hellion, 3 Hellions and a medevac is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And for the Terran, the whole entire point of that is to just slow the game down, because if you don't put that pressure on, if you don't get that damage, then the Protoss player, they get those chrono boosts going, the probe count escalates really fast, and suddenly you were talking about gateway count, where you've got quite a few more, and there's a lot more units on the map ready to receive that next push.
Yeah. Well, Time just executing his build order almost perfectly, besides losing the medevac, I suppose. The follow-up was very clean, not much MaNa could do with the bunker. That was actually put down, no greediness from Time there, as that would have been a very greedy move to go for such an aggressive harassment and not build a bunker. But no, he's playing solid. I think he actually should feel confident despite maybe like a little bit of a rocky start. You know, a surprise Stefano run was not so much on time as it was on Stefano. But he should be feeling confident in this series. Disco Bloodbath is the next map. I love saying that. Like, I feel like we should have like, you know, like lights go on when I say it. In the top left, just taking that last game, it is the Blue Terran time.
Lots of support for both of our players in the crowd. Space justice for the aliens. In the bottom right, we have the red Protoss player from Team Liquid. He is MaNa.
Would you say that Protoss and the lore are meaner to Terrans than the other way around?
I mean, the Protoss really only get in the Terran's face when they're trying to interrupt them from doing their job, right? It's like purifying Zerg. It's what we do. Like, if you get in our way, you should expect us to mess with you. Yeah. Or you're like stealing our artifacts. Like, what do you even need these things for, man? Like, science? Come on.
That's true.
Like, what did they want it for other than to continue to mess with their purification process?
We stole a Terrazine because Dreadlock guy told us. Tosh, here we go.
Yeah, Dreadlock guy told us to before a space assassin killed him. Spoiler alert.
Oh, wow. Wow, Nate, come on.
Depending on the choices that you make in the game.
But then it doesn't matter because in the expansion they choose for you.
Yeah.
Anyways. You know, last game it started off with the probe going down. Not really a huge deal, but oh, it's such a relief when it actually dies. This one, you get to live, buddy. That
probe will be able to survive as we wait to see what the tech choices are made. There was a fun discussion though. Somebody asked on like StarCraft, right? They're like, I just want an in-lore explanation for why 1v1 matches happen. Like, I just want to role play when I'm queuing ladder, and someone's like, well, you know, TvP it actually wouldn't really happen that much because they only really fight over infestation. So technically, every TvP should also have like an infested encampment or a Zerg base on the map.
Yeah. TvT makes a whole lot of sense.
Makes too much sense.
Yeah, it makes
unfortunately, makes too much sense.
I think I read that like there's the same one on the BattleNet forums, which you know is an excellent place. You should all definitely go there.
Oh, my favorite.
100%. But like there was someone was like asked the same question, and some guy responded, and it was like one of those great like the first 4 paragraphs because it's like an essay. First 4 paragraphs are like, well, this is like legitimate reason. It's in the lore. Like check out these books, and then you realize like he's just making everything up.
And then the first letter of every word is like never give you up. Yeah,
yeah, I should have checked for that one.
It's about what I expect. So it's a factory opening, even though there's no. I guess he does have. Yeah, I think that's just the Reaper looking around. So I don't think we're going to be seeing like a proxy starport this game, not today. And it's just a robo opening out of MaNa. So everything looking similar on the Protoss side of things. We've got that wall off the setup. We have the Sentry, the Adept, Hallucinated Phoenix is going to be able to get the Scout off before an Observer would need to be on the map. And with the Widow Mine being built, I guess it's just going to be a mine drop. This map is awesome for drops versus Protoss because you have that big airspace behind the main base mineral line. That's what Terran dreams are made of, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, well, I gotta have some way of harassing as this is our largest map, so getting across the map is actually quite difficult. And as we saw last game, MaNa's probably gonna be on the defensive. We do have a robo opener this game though, so maybe as we get to the mid game and later, sure defensive, but the Warp Prism potential, obviously we're getting it right now, right? Like it's not a lot of units that you can make with that, but especially if again, they're greedy enough not to get the bunker, you can actually do some damage. But with the bunker, I'm actually not sure this Warp Prism is gonna do a whole heck of a lot.
There is a bit of distance between where the bunker is and like the bottom of the main, right, on this map. So if you can try to pull something towards the top with like an Adept shade behind the mineral line, be like, oh yeah, you have to bring the Marines out here and then like elevate her up to the high ground. But yeah, with the way that he's doing this, he's not going to try to go for the warp inside the base per se. He's got too many units out. It will take him a little bit of time to elevate her up. So it really just comes to avoiding the tank, I guess, is where we're going with this. Oh my God, the medevac immediately gets spotted.
Ooh, he's forced to unload the Widow Mines, and they are going to reveal themselves after taking down, they attempt to take down units. It does splash the Warp Prism a little bit, meaning the second Widow Mine could kill it. Very close. Don't do that. Don't do that. But time, at least he saved the medevac, and now he knows what's up. He can also prepare to pull SCVs if he needs to.
Oh, he's got the Sentry on ready to cut the ramp off, too. I think the Adept did go into the natural mineral line, but the tank is sieged inside of the main. Could try to spread the Stalkers out and go on this. Good pot shot there to pick that one off. And that Sentry is just waiting at the ramp, but the Marines are able to come up, so that's nice.
Yep. Widow Mine should survive. In the bunker again, I think is enough. Like this could have gotten a lot messier actually. I want to kudos to time for putting that tank on the high ground first. and then having these number of Marines. It sucks they lost the medevac because that could have certainly been microed back. But I feel like also during this time's build order is actually going pretty smoothly. Like his macro hasn't been damaged too much, although losing this Raven would be a catastrophe.
Okay, so interference matrix on the warp prism. That's going to prevent it from being able to lift anything up or switch in modes. So a couple of the stalkers do die, so that is nice. Had an opportunity to try and save that one at the last second, but just Marines going to slowly pick away at these. And okay, well, the warping makes this tricky. He's saying bring that siege tank back over here because you're going to need more than just naked Marines to stop me. SCVs do get pulled, and you also really don't want to lose that Raven zombie grub.
Wow, such a few amount of units really forcing time to reconsider how he's defending this. I was with him. I thought it was done and over with, but forced to pull up his units. He's lost quite a few Marines, but it is Marines though, versus all these expensive Protoss units.
Yeah.
So I feel like Time's still doing all right. MaNa does have 3 bases almost done back at home. He's starting his upgrades. His macro also didn't slip too much during all that micro. This is where MaNa really does shine.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's
this
a
always
mistake.
makes me uncomfortable.
That's a big mistake.
The rallied immortal.
Well, where would he be rallied to? Natural or
he just
hopefully
turned
not
around.
in the main? Okay, good.
Like, took a wrong turn at Albuquerque over here.
Is Opa? Is it Greek? All right, the Raven, again, can interference matrix to try and just stop that from unloading. Still a very useful defensive tool. But we're also going to start talking about the offense, right? So Time's eventually going to make his way across the map. It's going to take a little while, but eventually get there. And he does have a Raven against someone going for Colossus. So very important, big, nice units, but not a lot of them. So you take one out of the equation, suddenly your ground army wins.
Yeah, and the big thing to take away from the way that all this has been, though, is oh my god, spotting this warp prism is really nice. Bit quick to the draw on the interference matrix. If you can pop it on the warp prism while it's in that sieged mode, it actually cannot undeploy and run away. But I feel like that Raven energy probably would have wanted to have that for this one Colossus. And now I'm not as certain that he'll be able to get through this army. But knowing where that prism is what I was trying to say, is very important because the last thing you want to do is get backstabbed. That is one of the worst ways to die as a Terran. But the Raven is here. We got tank siege on the low ground, and he's going to try and elevator his way up into the main base.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm... Well, we'll see how this goes. The Colossus has that range to try and stop it from really digging into his main. Warp Prism is controlled, but they're not there yet. Depowering of the... Oh, no! 1.3 seconds.
No,
he's not going to get that forge, is he?
That's big for the Colossus, fighting against the Marines and all of this with that splash damage. That is absolutely huge. And the siege tanks in the back, if they can right-click down on the Colossus and the Immortals, can do so much. Prevents the Prism from being able to lift up here. I was starting to push this back, but gonna drop on top of the Colossus. The Prism saving at the last second.
That was a very awkward defense. I thought he was just gonna go ahead and deal with the main, but he tried to catch it. So, I can see how that can work, right? You try and catch the bio on the top and the leftover units on the bottom, but it actually works still favorably for Time. He got 2 Immortals. The Colossus has now go back around and then up into the main, so he's losing more probes. And of course, he lost his robotic space. So while that upgrade did finish, and that's nice, no more Colossus, only stuck at that 2. Another drop off to the left side, forced to pull the probe, so at least no mining time while he goes to defend against that. This is excellent multitasking from Time.
Yeah, really applying the pressure directly to MaNa up about a couple of workers, and that's so big in Terran versus Protoss. He's got his own 3rd command center situated. We're going into Liberators, getting the armor upgrade, and just a handful of Stalkers and a Zealot not going to be able to defend. He's going to burn that recall going back into the main base, and as he pulls out that 3rd base, well, he's just going to go right back over there. That Nexus is very low. Marauders going to try to snipe this like it's 2015 Bolt, and he grabs it, lifts up, and flies away.
Oh, that was such a... That was so close to having Charge done. And I feel like if Charge was done 15 seconds earlier, the Zealots are already on top of that. And gosh, that would have been so close. But the 3rd base goes down. Lots of lost mining time there. MaNa's only at 50 probes, too, and just struggling to start production again, basically. He's just been working with the units he has, which unfortunately are getting picked off. Now, this is surprisingly effective.
Guys?
Yeah, and then the army comes forward. Whoa, MaNa. A little bold there, and now that means his main Nexus goes down. So MaNa, I guess, just trying to all in, hoping to catch Time with not enough reinforcements, but does not. I think that's going to be enough. MaNa is going to have to tap out. He doesn't have any economy behind this.
Absolutely nothing left as Time holds GG. And he goes up 2-0. Beautifully executed, very well played. Those types of attacks with the fast prism from MaNa, those are the things as a Terran player that give you nightmares when the Protoss is able to dance around, get those pickoffs. But Time's so cool, calm, collected. He had the tank on the high ground. He killed a few units. And then he just moves it down to the natural. He's like, it's okay. I don't think the main base is going to be the cause for concern anymore. And the Raven, he I mean, it didn't cost him the game. He was very liberal with the usage of the Raven energy, and I guess it's better than just holding it and never using it.
Yeah, holding it for the what ifs that never actually happened.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, it would have been a little better if he had saved, like, basically the last 2 interference matrix, right?
Yeah.
The War Prisms weren't really worth it. But you also are thinking a lot about taking out that War Prism, because then you can focus entirely on your push. And if the War Prism's anywhere, it doesn't matter if you know the Protoss is, like, warping it at home and getting a lot of tech, and they're trying to be greedy, and it's just those 2 Stalkers. There's a possibility that it isn't. There's a possibility it comes back in and it's 7 Zealots, and you're like, well, I underestimated that. So you can see why he would want to grab it. He didn't, but then abusing that spot on that map. I mean, I've had it happen in TvT. You know, they specifically made it so that the tanks don't actually hit that geyser, but it's still obviously a point of contention when the bio can also drop there. I really thought MaNa was going to tackle it from just the main, but then he tries to wrap around, and I didn't think it was effective enough, and then it was shown by his just lack of units.
Yeah, I mean, if he had gone for the bottom of the main base with the Prism, he would not have been able to as easily elevate the units from the low ground up, but I guess that's a different game would have happened in an alternate timeline, Zombie Grub, a timeline that we do not exist in because our Terran player is leading the series 2-0 as we load into Triton, and here he is in the bottom right, doing fantastically so far this WCS fall. He is Time! That's exactly what he's doing, brother.
Did you just draw that? In the top left, as the right Protoss, he is Team Liquid's MaNa.
Time flies. Well, hopefully we'll see some battle cruisers from him. I'm not biased at all.
What are the chances in a TvP for that to happen?
Very low.
Yeah.
Tragically, very low.
I don't know. I used to like Fantasy had that one base proxy BC in a tank push. Just bring that back. It's like a year and a half old, but bring it back. Do it, Time. Do it.
I think my favorite. We did have someone in Challenger go for a Liberator range rush, but I don't know that would work at this level, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a fun type of strategy to do, but you've got plenty of space to go behind the mineral line to defend against this. The probe going for the kill, no. But at least you're forcing a Terran, and honestly, even doing that still triggers me, Zombie Grub, because now your minerals are at an odd count. Now you cannot perfectly efficiently spend your minerals until you have to repair later on. It bothers me. It bothers me on a deeply personal level when I play Terran and I have to repair that SCV at the start of the game.
I mean, how often you don't have 2 minerals, and that changes the game.
You know what though? I mean, if you force base trades as often as I did, then those 3 minerals they've lost me games before.
You know, literally from minute 1, I worry about base trades. That's why I mule my opponent's base, so they have less minerals.
Well, see, my goal is to cause the base trade. That's the part that I omitted.
Gosh.
Yeah.
There's that was like 2014.
That's why I'm always talking about Drilling Claw Widow Mines in every matchup, because I'm like, what units are most cost effective when you can't build stuff? I'm like, man, when you got some burrowed mines and they're trying to run around the map, those are the dream.
Some pretty epic games when that happens. We have a Stargate. Did a, Jinx. Yeah, Stargate opener instead of, well, it was Twilight, then Robo, then Stargate. He's done everything, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he technically kind of opened with the Robo. Like, he did, like, the safe opening, right? Like, he went for the Stalkers with the Blink and the Robo and...
In the first game?
Trying to go for the Colossus. Yeah,
it was Twilight first. Oh.
I mean, the order, is like, but he kind of just, exactly what you're saying. We haven't seen a Stargate opening yet. It's been pretty normal so far.
Yeah. So the Stargate opener, oh, man. I actually really wonder what he's going to be looking for that. We have seen a couple people bring back the attempt to snipe Stim and a couple Oracles, but it's so unlikely nowadays. A lot of times Reaper has been able to get a scout. Last game was also denied a lot of scouting because there are ways to block the Reaper hop-up, and that was some of the initial complaints of the new maps, and they're certainly valid. So I don't know if he knows with the Stargate. He's getting Widow Mines, and he was defensive with them initially in that last game. Oh, hello.
Yeah, this is odd. I mean, you can do a good bit of bullying at the start of the game with the Hellions against the Adept. Oh my God, he's like, I'm gonna close the depot so you can't run away. But then he's like, oh my goodness, I can't attack you in my main unless I lower the depot.
Well, that Adept was not expecting this much damage. Maybe a little bit of scouting, maybe seeing if the Widow Mine is placed in the front. And she's not gonna survive. So just the 3 SCVs, but does also have that scout. So there were no Widow Mines at the time, and they're still not being placed. He has no idea it's a Stargate, so...
Yeah, it should look like a mine drop to MaNa, so you want to just go in, because you assume the mines are going to get picked up immediately, and they are, so the Oracle gets in, gets an SCV, gets a Mule, and is going to continue to kill workers in the base of time. There is nothing here to deal with this. The Cyclone is on the way with 2 Marines, but they are not finishing anytime soon.
No, that's a lot of damage. A lot more damage than we've seen from an Oracle in the past year, it feels like. As that is going to get 8 SCVs before it runs out of energy even, so it gets away. Totally healthy. The Heldanes are going to come into the natural attempt to, and more importantly, 4 Widow Mines into the main base. No Phoenix was made, and 4 Widow Mines... I don't know. If he's planning on tackling the Widow Mines as they unload, that could be a mistake. We'll see how it works. Now 2 Oracles going to try and tackle 4 Widow Mines. 2 go down, 2 burrow, and get some decent shots.
Okay, I can live with 5 probes. He doesn't have a Phoenix, right? So the medevac should be able to get away. A Viking is coming out behind this. This wall off is going to make things awkward because the 2 Hellions and the Reaper are like, well, we can just poke forever if we want to. 3 Oracles.
The magic amount, man. Triple Oracle is quite scary. Even if you do go over a Widow Mine and lose 1, that's still 2 Oracles just beating down on SCVs or even Marines. Can technically take on a Cyclone, but now with the help of the Viking and the Marines as well. Not going to lose his life.
If he had been able to kill that Oracle there, that would have been really nice. Oh, actually, with the splash damage, he may not have needed to. And boop. Oh, okay. He noticed it, I think, just the last second.
Very close.
Yeah. Wow. Splash damage, I think, would have grabbed it. So fantastic awareness by MaNa as he starts up his 3rd base. But time, Marines, tanks, and 28 SCVs to 47 probes. Yeah. Red or white, Zombie Grub, from the Twitch chat on the Terran Wine for this game. What you think?
Red or white?
Oracles are going to come in, and that... Ooh, nice top pickup there. Laser Beam's looking real funky as that medevac saves the Cyclone, but the pressure is not going to stop, and I don't know how you try to leave. If you try to move out here as time, you are really putting it all on the line.
Just pull the SCVs. Might as well.
Yeah, he doesn't have any extra barracks. Yeah, may as well.
Yeah, well, I think you got it, really, not necessarily all in. This is not all of his SCVs. He's still producing them behind this, but you have to dedicate to this attack. You are in dumpster economy, but the one thing you might have is a better army. Just the size of his army is larger, and then 3 Oracles, depending on how much energy they have, sometimes aren't very helpful. They have not set on any stasis traps, so it'll just be the damage, or they might just die. 3 Vikings, those are gonna kill the Oracles real fast.
Yeah, there's actually, this army from time is still really good. He had no economy behind it, but without blink, without charge, and with 3 Vikings to keep the Oracles away, I'm not entirely sure how MaNa engages this force.
Yeah, the Vikings will absolutely take care of the Oracles. Actually, they're barely in range of the shield battery, but the Widow Mine takes it down. An arc of Stalkers seems to be good enough, just barely. Tank lives with the SCV repair.
Kill the Oracle.
Vikings, a little late to landing, maybe? Yeah, a little late to landing. They're going to be taken out. This is actually really scrappy, but...
The shield batteries did the trick. Wow, MaNa able to hold it here. I thought that there was a big opportunity there, but the Phoenix lift up, adding a lot to that. And very well done. Very well held by MaNa. He did what he needed to do. He got so much economic damage done. It's okay, well, the only thing my opponent can do is all in me. I don't have tech, but he got just enough Stalkers and just enough units out to be able to defend against that.
Yeah, really solid read into what was the only option from time, right? So really nice to know with those shield batteries. Guys, we'll be going to game number 4 very soon, but first, a break. Don't go anywhere. we are getting ready to go into game number 4 between MaNa and Time. MaNa initially going down 0-2, feeling like a little scared for him, and then had some very powerful usage of a Stargate. His oracles did a very surprising amount of damage.
Switching it up and able to grab the dub, forcing that all in basically from Time, and even without tech, being able to deal with tanks with just a couple of those oracles and stalkers to try and stop this matchup. And I love this. Clown Fiesta, thank you. That's one of my favorites.
Gonna hope for a Clown Fiesta. Well, MaNa, that second game with the War Prism, Robo is kind of getting like the, oh yeah, he's a micro guy. He loves getting into those weird scenarios, and he does really well with them. We could see a Clown Fiesta, mostly because MaNa pushes it.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about the run that MaNa made last year, it was off the back of a lot of very odd strategies people were talking about, and he was kind of getting back to that double Stargate before Showtime made it popular again and all that, and it was good times. And speaking of, in the bottom right, we have the Blue Terran player trying to close it out. He is Time.
In the top left, as the red Protoss, he is MaNa.
Cameraman doing an amazing job here as well. Great crowd shot, the shots of the trophy, beautiful. Following the players, everybody's doing a great job here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us and watching. We have plenty of more StarCraft action coming up and plenty more, goodness, Protoss players who are so annoying with their probe. On my SCV. Yeah, that's right. You're in red health. That means you're done. That means it's over.
You have plenty more probes. Gosh, man.
Go home. You get nothing.
Can't even finish your thought. You're just like, probes. No, probes super duper annoying. I think MaNa is trying to make up for that very first probe harassment in the first game where he lost
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's the thing is you become even more determined, but ooh, careful.
No. He's got
That's right.
He's good.
Run home, little pro. Oh,
No.
Oh, no. Oh, don't
no.
do it. Don't do it.
Oh, no.
He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to poke you with no health again. Okay, well, those shields come back up, but the Reaper's coming.
Yeah, he's going to have to either hide it if he really wants to come back, which even then I think is a Marine follow-up, so I don't know about that. Or just go on home. Go on home, little buddy.
Send it straight home. Do not risk losing it on the map to the Reaper. I believe this map, it's a gate core wall off blocks the Reaper from going into the main.
Well, there you go.
And you
Here's your
have
answer.
denied Terran scouting. I think on this map, the right side of that cyber core, he might be able to boop himself with a grenade, but then I don't know that he'll be able to boop himself back out.
The official verb for that is booping, guys.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I feel like we had, remember Bridgehead? You could boop yourself over Bridgehead, and then that was the last time I saw Reaper boops actually work. Well, that and booping the Stalker away from the wall to get your Hellions in. That works, yeah.
That was, the two Hellion Reaper, the boop build, as it were. And it's going to be Stargate again this time. So MaNa's saying to himself, all right, I'm feeling the Oracle play early on. Time has been, so on the map, he's avoiding doing the conservative thing, which would be like you get those mines, you kind of put them somewhere defensively, you wait until you have the medevac, and then you unburrow them, lift up and move out. But if he just tries to throw everything at him as he builds it, then I see a world where an Oracle is able to get a significant amount of damage done again.
Also, last game, the Adept got in, and it wasn't really supposed to. So
That
that kind
too.
of started everything, and then the Oracle swoops in, and Time, of course, didn't know it was going to be an Oracle. He might be a little more on guard about that possibility this time, but he is, once again, denied that scouting. So very safe with the bunker. And then we do have, a Cyclone? Yeah, okay, Cyclone being built. This should be fine, again, as long as there's no, severe missteps or having his Marines in the wrong place. Reaper is going to try and skirt past this Adept. Second Adept on top of it. It's not going to try and sacrifice itself for the victory. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's going to go for it. Go for the scout.
Once this happens, once the Reaper gets hit the second time, as long as the Shade follows the Reaper, you're always going to kill it. So an unfortunate end of that Reaper's life.
He didn't scout the Oracle. I'm pretty sure about that it was actually kind of close to seeing the actual Oracle, but he's building a Viking.
Well, that's the right call, regardless of whether he saw it. So the Cyclone and a Viking are going to help a lot. One of the funny things, we make jokes about the probe harassing early on, but it does help the Oracle to either one-shot or two-shot the SCVs ever since they tweaked the damage it did
Ooh, 3 Adepts. Cyclone in the main base is the right call. However, Viking as well could get the last hit potentially if the Oracle overstays its welcome. Definitely not. Takes a lot of damage from the Cyclone. Viking could... Hey, it's going to have the Oracle. The Oracle stopped moving. Okay, then it lands. I was going to say, it could definitely land to help out the Adepts.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much better for time. Naturally, this wasn't like a Widowmine drop rush, so he was able to just go straight for the defense, and that's quite nice. That's probably one of my favorite changes, I guess. It feels easier to punish an Oracle that you scout with the Viking. Whether or not he actually scouted it this game, you know, we may never know without the magical ability of replays that totally don't exist, but that Viking did a great job at defending, and Time finds himself knocked down 20 workers in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, that feels good. So it wasn't triple Oracle this time. Not quite as potent, but definitely you're going to have that scouting for sure. Even if one dies, you're still. It's the next stage of things. You know, we got the Nexus, we got that Blink. We do have lift up on the Cyclone. The Vikings still pretty effective at dealing with this, but actually targets back on the Phoenix.
Yeah, the targeting was a bit weird there. Even with the Oracles, thought he could get a lot more. He does finally get some worker kills over here in the natural, but I thought this was actually going to end up being more than 5 SCVs picked off. He didn't lose an Oracle, though, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Oracle was going to die. You know, that's what I was looking at, but either just a misclick or maybe he really did want to try and just shoo the Phoenix away. The point is, MaNa still has all of his units. Pretty perfect game so far. And that's, I mean, we're going into the mid game. So Ephemeron has those tricky little bridges in the middle. Peg and I were just talking about how like we actually really like the map as far as the way that it makes you play around its design, but not in a really, really obnoxious way, like I don't know, Dasan Station or something.
You have options. You can move around those sides. The middle and the end, the far sides, I guess, have the little bridges. I will say I love it. I love it as a Terran player. I've talked about drilling Claw Widow Mines till the end of time, and on those little bridges, they are fantastic. You can establish any sort of map control, but instead of going for something like Double Forge, he gets Blink as the opening, loses the Stalker, but he's going straight into Charge and Storm. So thinking more about the tech rather than the powerful gateway units.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm actually like this or not. Charge is really not that fast, first of all, and that's so that the timing that Time is going to try and hit. Sorry, guys, can't really avoid it. But Storm, that's taking up a considerable amount of resources, because you also need to get like all 4 of those initial gases. We've been seeing so many of those 3 gas builds, 3 gas, 3 bases. This isn't it. It's actually a decent amount of charge lots, or almost charge lots, but then a lot of everything else that MaNa could possibly have gotten, those Oracles, and that Storm, that might just be split against. Time's micro is really quite good.
He does buy himself a good bit of space with those force fields to be able to get up to that Storm. So it's done. A Stasis Ward is going to nab a few of these Marines. That's cute. Now, Siege Tanks can still zone away High Templar really nicely, assuming that he has any with energy, and I'm not even sure that he does. It's just a bunch of Zealots. But at that point, the Marines become more valuable than the tanks because you need something that can actually pepper down these Zealots, and he is going to move in. And okay, there's Templar inside of that War Prism. He's going to drop down. Big storms on top of the Marines. Liberators are going to show up just a moment too late to try and cover those siege tanks.
Yeah, the Zealots luckily get out of the range of the most part of those Liberators. They were just a tad bit late, but he actually picks up and goes around the Zealots that were chasing his army, looking for a couple grabs of more expensive Stalkers. Maybe that Immortal does not find it, and MaNa does hold. I think Time was a little surprised by the War Prism containing the storms already, and you can't really blame him, but because the War Prism was able to use itself to micro, right? The special, MaNa special of using these War Prism like that so quickly too, means that was super effective. I was worried the tank's gonna just go ahead and outrange the High Templars and laugh at them. But no, the War Prism was absolutely critical to that success. And his third base is defended. Now adding on the Forge, as that was, of course, the other thing he had to sacrifice. No armor for those Zealots.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I'm always surprised to see single Forge builds from Toss. Okay, there we go. The second one does boot up. Liberator sieges the main. Does not lose any probes to it. Pretty good response time here out of MaNa. He's stepping it up since dropping down 2-0 in this series. And the other great thing about opening with Storm this fast, though, is you put the fear into the Terran player's heart of that Storm. And you're saying, do you really want to try and just micro around this? You know I'm going to be probably building more High Templar. They're going to bank energy for lots of Storms. Don't you want to build Ghosts? Don't you want to slow down this ramp up and start building those very expensive Ghosts that are going to cut into your upgrades early, or slow down how fast you take that third base, by the way, which still has yet to secure as we approach the 10-minute mark?
yeah, but MaNa took a long time to really saturate his third base. We just witnessed that happening, so it's not as bad as I actually thought it was. I saw the still no third command center on location. I was like, hold on, no, not
That's
that bad.
fair.
Time supply is looking quite good, in fact, and he still has that upgrade lead. In fact, he's going to have 2 upgrade leads. Even if MaNa were to Chrono Boost his 1-1, I think that's still going to be a timing here for Time again, and this is an excellent one. He's going to see that, of course, there's a lot of dependency on that Storm.
Oh my God.
He's scouting ahead. Okay, Storm, but really good scouting ahead with Marines. Time is prepared to actually attack into this without ghosts. These pro Terrans are so much better at dealing with storms without necessarily those EMPs. That's really nice, though. Zealot's going to distract him at the very least. But look how many siege units there are here for Time.
He really needs to make sure that the moment those High Templar come into range, he's blasting them with the siege tanks. Super important. Does focus fire down most of the Templar. Okay, so one storm goes off, the rest gets cleaned up, and even with those Zealots counterattacking in the other base, Time has eliminated the AoE, and we know how good Stim Marines are against gateway units. Who needs a third base when you are inside the face of the enemy Protoss? But there's 5 Zealots and 9 Stalkers, 23 Marines battering down the front door of MaNa. That third base is going to die, and even in the worst case scenario, his own third Time can fly.
Yeah, Time, didn't necessarily pay attention to save his SCVs, but he eventually got around to dealing with those Zealots, so he's back to mining with them. MaNa, when I saved his probes, there's not enough mining. There's not enough army, probably. Liberators still raining down from above. Stalkers, at least this time, are part of the fight, so they will help take care of everything, and Time is forced to fly away. But 3 base to 2, with the mules hammering down here, 60 workers is not really 60 workers for MaNa.
Yeah, those 60 workers, you're oversaturating bases to the degree where you're barely getting any return on those probes. Ghost Academy does finally start up. And I mean, a Terran player that can get an economic lead against Protoss, but we already know that in a straight-up game, the Terran with that Shockwave upgrade for the Ghost can do so much against High Templar. The Prism really needs to make a big play, but the army is at home. Time is not distracting himself with a move out. So these two shouldn't do too much. Maybe just, a little bit of friendly fire basically onto his own SCVs, but I don't think he lost the Mule. Viking chasing that Prism and trying to use the medevac to also chase the turret here as well.
He really needs the threat of the War Prism at the very least. Barely saved, but
oh man,
that's very weak, not reliable. MaNa, I think this is the right call. You got to take the risks, so a double expand. Unfortunately, it is scouted. Time could just go ahead and drop that to the far right and push to the left or vice versa, and it'd be very difficult for MaNa to hold with what is not a lot of units. Even though he's going that gateway style, right? Not a lot of robo units. It's just not a lot because, well, the game's already gone kind of time favored here.
I believe the term, as a wonderful person in the crowd suggested, Clown Fiesta. This game's gotten a little bit crazy. We got a Prism with some Templar in it. So Time wanted to wait for 3 Ghosts and then move out as long as he could just eliminate the Storms. But with the Warp Prism, as long as those Templar are in there, the EMP is not going to drain their energy. So it's going to become a lot more of a tight timing here to try and deny the Storm, because a few well-landed storms. Oh no! Gets 3 of them inside. All right, take everything I just said and flush it down the toilet.
Yeah, I was going to say that, it's okay at predicting where they're going to land, but it doesn't matter. If you take out the War Prism, that was so weak from trying to do the harassment. If it wasn't that weak, it probably barely survives, but the EMP was also beautiful on top of it. Time with a 70 supply lead almost.
There's no
last warp in here from MaNa, but yeah, no splash. Even the last snipe with that 1 High Templar.
Yeah, and that Templar didn't even have the energy, so this third Nexus is going to die again. There's 26 probes there, by the way, so he's just going to pull everything off to try and fight against this with a 1 Zealot Stalker flank from the side. And that's a lot of probes. EMP on the probes. Be the disrespect as Time goes up 100 supply against MaNa and is going to advance on here at WCS Fall. GG.
Nicely
EMP
done.
on probes. EMPing the clumped up. How do you not split your probes when you're pulling them against the Terran planes?
I know, right? Come on, no. That's just that you see Protoss units, it doesn't matter what they are, you're gonna EMP them.
Yeah.
Especially when you have as many goes as he did. Just, pretty brutal. Very interesting play for MaNa to bring out that fast storm, but Time had a strong response even without those EMPs, but with them, of course, made it a lot easier as well. That's gonna be it for MaNa's run, unfortunately, but we would love to hear from the winner. Time is on stage with Cloaken.
Thanks so much, Jess. That's right, I'm here with Time. Congratulations on your win here in the round of 24 against a very formidable opponent with MaNa. Was that game what you expect? That matchup what you expected? Did you feel good about your performance?
Yeah, I feel so exciting because when I top 16, maybe this year I can go BlizzCon. So I think whatever top 8,
Absolutely, Time. Now, I was talking with my colleagues backstage, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, you may be already, but if you do make it to BlizzCon, I know you're like seated 6th in the points race, but if you do make it to BlizzCon, you'll be the first Chinese player on the global final stage. Do you feel the pressure of that, the sort of national pressure to perform in that way?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think for me it's a big stress.
Understood. And by the way, just to clarify, that's the current WCS system. Time will be the first Chinese player on the BlizzCon Global Final stage. So, well, fantastic. You move on into the round of 16. You're going to be up against Australia. Do you have any thoughts about that matchup or what you're looking to bring?
Yeah, I hope I can win.
Okay, fantastic, man. I do too as well. Congratulations. One more quick round of applause for Time here as he moves on to the round of 16. We're back to you at the desk, Kalaris.
Indeed, Time waits for no Protoss player here as Time is able to vanquish MaNa in pretty decisive fashion, to say the least. It really did feel like a bit of an outskilling in some of these matches as Time advances on into the next round.
He's a man of few words, but I feel like his games kind of do the talking for him here. Very convincing win. I mean, MaNa did fight back and win the one map, but Time looked so good. That last game pushed exactly when he needed to. Right on time.
Right on time. Pig, thoughts?
Yeah, I like the way you opened up the series as well. I think the Hellion drop got in there really early, did a lot of damage, and kind of felt like it just kind of threw MaNa off his rhythm a little bit in that first game. I like that choice from Time, and it's good to see that his TvP matches up to his Terran versus Zerg as well. So we know he's definitely not a one-trick pony, and we already know in the past he's had amazing Terran versus Terran series as well. Of course, harking back to like 3-0 Hero Marine to make top 4 here last year. So many good ones. So I think he's got a very good chance against Australia. Very excited to see how far he goes.
Yeah, and actually that matchup in general, if Time does go past that, that's another round of 8 performance for him. But if Australia does win, that's massive for Australia on the other side of things as well. There were other games going on, I do believe. Pig, I'm going to check in with you first. What did you have and what were you watching?
Yeah, right now we are in Showtime and Cham. It's just started the new game, so we don't necessarily need to hop in. Of course, we can take a look at the score.
Anyway.
2 points up for Showtime. Won the first 2 games. Classic Dimauer, you know, big old just defensive Protoss, took a 4th, defending with Storm and Immortals. And Cham was in a good spot in those games, but he really wanted to beat Showtime on layer tech, and it was just like Ravager Baneling trading into Arc on Immortal Storm. Yeah. Very even back and forth. Eventually, Showtime would get a little bit too large of an army and hold out. In that third game, though, we saw a Lurker push get in there, lots of Lurker drops, Hydras coming in from multiple angles, and he finally cracked the wall, found a chink in the armor, so very excited to see Cham kind of going toe-to-toe with Showtime. Hope he can take another map.
Todd, what did you have whilst everything was going on?
Hearthstone versus Clem.
Okay.
I thought Clem was about to go up 2-1, but Hearthstone stormed everything, and the soup actually lied for a moment. Oof. Lead, so yeah, it's there in the third map right now, and
all right,
so
cool.
It's going to go up 2-1, I can tell you that.
There you go. Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's take a look at that bracket here for WCS Fall. As, of course, we have a few updates coming in here and there. We now know our top side of our round of 16 to get things going. And then, of course, now Time will be going up against Australia. Neeb, Serral, and Hero Marine still waiting for their opponents to come to fruition from the previous round of 24. It would be nice to see Clem getting himself into that round of 16. Going up against Neeb, though, if that is to happen, that's a big, tall order to try and vanquish.
Yeah, there's no easy brackets left here, I think, at this point. Definitely there's a couple of underdog names, like Australia's probably the last big underdog surprise name we see, of course, in that round of 16. But he got there by smashing Group Stage 3. We've got to remember that. So I think at this point, it's going to be a tough draw for anyone going through to the next stage. You've got Serral waiting, of course, for the winner of one of those matches as well. I think at this point, you know, everything's on the line. If you want to make a top 8, top 4 consistently, you're going to have to start taking out some really big names.
Do you know what the next match is, Todd?
Special versus Hats.
Yes, it is, right? It's going to be exciting. And we're going to go to a short break here, ladies and gentlemen, as Todd contributed so fantastically just then. It's time now to go to that break here for WCS Fall. That's it. And when we return, it's Special versus Haas. Don't change that channel.